Hi, want to do an interview? You want to go, Barrett? Feel free.
Sure.
Yeah, me too. Okay, I will.
It's been a long time since I've done one. Grab a seat, man. You want me to put this on? Yep. Go ahead and put the headphones on, man.
All right.
Excellent.
You know what? I need to take my head.
Yeah. It'd be weird to stack them.
I know. I just kind of forget because I usually use this to keep my hair out. I usually have much longer hair, so.
Yeah. Nice, dude.
So I'm usually not listening to anything. So if it looks like I'm listening to something, I'm probably not.
Is it just to have people not talk to you, or?
No, just to keep the hair out, cause.
Oh yeah, right.
Like I usually grow my hair pretty long, so I need to keep the bangs out.
Gotcha. It's a more masculine headband. Is that?
No, it's just that I'm lazy to buy a headband, and I already have this because yeah.
Go ahead and throw the headphones on, man. So my name is Barrett. What's your name, man?
Peter.
Peter. Good to meet you, Peter.
What's your name again?
Barrett.
Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett.
Oh, okay.
Barrett. Good to meet you, Peter.
Nice to meet you as well.
So what we do here is we take people who have beliefs. It could be any kind of belief. It could be a religious belief. It could be a belief. Maybe you think vaccines cause autism. Maybe it could be any kind of belief that it doesn't have to be supernatural. And we examine how you came to that belief by asking questions. And we try to determine if those are good reasons for believing what you believe. So do you have any kind of beliefs? Anything particular thing you want to talk about?
No, I was just looking at your sign, and it just seemed like most of the stuff like critical race theory, vaccine mandate, Carl Rittenhouse. It seemed to be like stuff that I guess one side pushed really hard, and the other side is just reacting to.
Maybe. I mean, do you have any beliefs about any of those things?
Like for example, the vaccine mandate. I mean, you're already mandated to get vaccine for all sorts of stuff in order to get to public school, right?
Okay.
But then after that, there's like one side that makes a real big deal of like, oh no, the COVID vaccine, it's government tyranny. Like,
got it. So do you? That could be your belief. For example, you believe that the vaccine mandates are tyrannical. It's government tyranny, or maybe you believe they're necessary. What's your belief on that? And then we'll just take a look at what that belief is.
I think they're pretty necessary because, as I said, you already get vaccine for almost everything else, like TB. What's the other things? Smallpox.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get that before you actually enter into school.
Okay. So you believe that the vaccine mandates are necessary. Is that what you're saying?
As a matter of public health, yes.
As a matter of public health. So how sure are you that they're necessary? If on a scale from 1 to 100, 1 being like, I don't think they're really necessary at all, and maybe 100 is they're completely necessary. You can use the scale. Anything over to the far right, you're like...
I'll just say 90.
Okay, go that way.
Sorry.
Or
90.
I don't know.
I don't know, it's just like...
yeah, okay.
90 seems like a good number.
Okay, so you're 90% sure that they're necessary. So what is your main reason for believing they're necessary?
Well, it's to help have the population not spread the disease, so that you can prevent deaths, you can prevent people from dying from COVID. All that sorts of things, because I mean, it's not something that you debate about with smallpox or TB or any other disease.
Right.
It's just that this gets really politicized because I guess our previous president completely, I'm allowed to curse?
Yeah, for sure. Say whatever you want, man.
Completely fucked up the whole response, and now the one side of the political spectrum, I guess, is making a big fuss about it just to be petulant.
Okay. That would be a reason that you think other people don't think it's necessary. But what's your main reason for thinking it is necessary? So is it to protect public health?
Yeah.
Okay. So you believe that a vaccine mandate will protect public health. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What is your best reason for believing that? What is it about the vaccine mandate what is the evidence that you have that it protects public health?
Well, the effectiveness of vaccine in getting rid of all the other disease. For example, I keep on mentioning smallpox, but smallpox, that's literally not a thing anymore in America.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like not a thing anymore almost everywhere in the world except for Pakistan, where the U.S. government did some weird stuff there, and now it's back.
Okay. If let's see here. If you found out that the vaccine do you think the vaccine for COVID is as effective as the vaccine for smallpox?
It's still new, but I think it's pretty effective.
Okay. If the vaccine was shown to be not effective, and I'm not saying it isn't. I don't know. I honestly don't know that's stuff I research and stuff. But if you were to find out that the vaccine wasn't effective, would that change your mind?
Well, all that tells me is that we just need a better vaccine.
Okay.
When it works.
Okay. Interesting. But would you still want to mandate if you found out the current vaccine didn't work?
I mean, if I found out the current vaccine didn't work, it's not like it has to work all the time, but it works like 8% of the time or 70% of the time, even 50% of the time. That's still something worth mandating because we need to keep the population healthy at all costs.
Okay.
It's not simply like, it's my freedom. Well, I want the freedom not to have you cough at me and me getting COVID.
Okay.
That's another freedom that's not mentioned when you're screaming about freedom.
Fair enough. So what number how effective, is there a number that you would stop thinking it would be a good idea to be a mandate? Like if it was 5% effective or 3% effective, or is there a number?
Not really. It depends on whether the cost outweigh the benefit. If the vaccine was proven to cause, cancer or something, which it's not, and which...
Right. There's no evidence of that.
Yeah, there's no evidence that's connected to any disease, but let's just say that there's proof of it, then sure. But all that tells me that we need a better vaccine, not that vaccine mandate in general are government tyranny.
Got it. Oh, I understand that. I could see that point of view. Does that go for all different things for safety? Like, is anything that keeps the public safer okay to mandate?
Most things that keep the public safe are usually already mandated, like seatbelts.
Right. So, I'm trying to think here. So we have speed limits, right?
Yeah.
If we change the speed limit to 10 miles per hour everywhere, we'd probably save 50, 60, 100,000 traffic deaths over the next few years. Would that be a reasonable thing to mandate?
I wouldn't think so, but I'm not really a big car person. I'm more in favor of for ecological reasons, in favor of having more public transportation instead of personal cars.
Okay. That's a totally different.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. And I think that's probably a great idea. But where does government? And I'm not saying I have a personal stance on this. I'm just asking. I'm trying to understand why you believe what you believe. Where does the government right to mandate things stop?
That's actually a tough question, to be honest. I think there should be some limits, we must govern personal morality or something like that. But I guess it just depends on the situation and the thing. So I guess it's varied.
Gotcha.
So I wouldn't want the government to mandate everyone use a condom or prevent sex before marriage like they do in Saudi Arabia, Iran, or someplace like that. But I think a mandate is pretty reasonable. Vaccine mandate is pretty reasonable.
If using a condom could stop, call it 100,000, a certain amount of death. If the numbers using a condom stopped the same number of deaths as a vaccine stopped deaths, would then mandating using a condom be okay? And I'm not saying it does. I don't know the health numbers. I don't know.
I don't know the health numbers either, but it's just I don't think so, because that's just seems like a really false equivalency.
How so?
Well, I mean, sorry. For condom is usually a matter of like, preventing pregnancies and that sort of thing, right? I mean, it's just prevent some STDs, but usually the reason why you get a condom is to prevent pregnancies, right?
Well, maybe a lot of people. I mean, I assume that most gay couples that use condoms aren't trying to prevent pregnancy.
Yeah, I mean, not gay people, but it seems also like if you try to mandate something like that that's completely unenforceable, then what does that tell you? Well, I guess another reason why you would want to mandate condoms because it's really completely unenforceable.
Okay.
I mean, if
so, does the enforceability of something make something right to mandate? Does the enforceability of something make it right or wrong to mandate?
It's not right or I don't think it has to do with morality or rights or wrong or that sort of thing. But it's just like, if you can't enforce something, then what does that tell you about the law? That's unable to enforce this or that stipulation, right? So that means it wouldn't work anyways, and it also make a mockery of our legal system, I guess.
Perhaps. Yeah, I couldn't think of a way you could enforce that either. But it's interesting stuff. I appreciate you giving me your opinion. Like, are you, after our conversation, are you still sure, 90% sure mandates should be in place?
Yeah, but the reason why I was looking at that is just like most of that stuff is one side really being mad about something, and then the reason why it's being debated is because they're making a giant fuss over it.
Okay.
So is it like, I mean, I don't think critical race theory in itself is like something that people care, but it's just like they're making such a big deal out of it.
Who's making a big deal out of it, out of curiosity?
I would guess the right wing.
Okay. So you're saying it's critical race theory is not a big deal?
No one ever heard of it until like Fox News and all the other right-wing organizations started like whining about it.
Do you think the people who are in favor of critical race theory would say it's not a big deal?
I mean, you had to define what critical race theory is first, and usually it just amounts to,
That's out.
we acknowledge that racism exists, and we should approach American history through the perspective that we have wonky race issues.
Okay.
Which is a pretty reasonable thing to talk about.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of conversation. That's why we're out here today.
But it's just not like, oh no, it's tearing the fabric of American society apart to tell us that we are a racist nation. And oh no, you're making white people feel guilty. Like, so?
Okay. Interesting.
So I don't know, it just seems like...
So you think my question is, you think that it is controversial because of people on the right not feeling comfortable with it? Is that what's the statement you're making here, out of curiosity?
No, my general statement is that most of the topic of political discussion seems to revolve around issues that the right make hay over instead of issues that really, I don't know how to explain it. Oh, there we go. It seems that the public conversation just seems to be reactive to whatever the right said, even if it's loony, like, oh no, Biden stole the election by using magic, and most of these things are loony, but yet everyone still needs to like respond to them, to debunk it, to treat them as something serious of conversation instead of like saying, what the hell are you doing outside of a madhouse?
Right. Do you think, is that only a problem on the right? Do you think only people on the right make loony statements like that?
I'm pretty sure everybody left, right, and center make loony statements. It's just like somehow right-wing loony statements get like a huge microphone, and now we're talking about, is critical race theory something that we should teach in school? Like, no one's school is even teaching critical race theory. It's probably something that's done in universities, and from what I understand, it's mostly within law schools.
Do you think critical race theory should be taught?
Increased awareness of America's broad relationship with other ethnic minorities should be taught, yes.
Okay. Is that the same as critical race theory?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know even know what critical race theory is, and my hunch is that no one really knows what that is either.
Right. I certainly do not know what it is. I'm very confused
some sort
on
of
what
like boogeyman about how the schools are indoctrinating kids. Because how do you wait? I'm pretty sure you lived through most of the same events that I did, right?
Mm-hmm. You're quite a lot younger than me, I imagine. But let's call it the same.
Yeah, I'm a lot younger than you. I apologize for saying that, but
that hurts my feeling. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But usually they have these weird stuff complaining about how there's too much, I guess, liberal stuff in schools. So I'm trying to think back on what they complained about during my childhood, but I remember they did complain about something that was totally forgotten now.
Got it. Do you think the left ever complains about stuff that the right wants in schools?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. So what is the difference between the two?
I guess one, the right gets a much bigger microphone, and for some reason we take them seriously. Whereas for the left, it's always treated like these loony communist people, or pinkos.
Who do you think? What makes you think that?
Oh yeah, several years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was attending UCI, and there was this huge protest about someone removing an American flag somewhere on campus, not in the main square, not in not most places, just one center. They just took out the American flag, and then they're protesting about how this is against America and how it's showing how liberal influence is creeping into this whatever.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah, sorry for not being more eloquent about it.
No. It's fine, Peter. I'm just curious what you believe. So, just so I can clarify, I don't want to put words in your mouth, and please correct me if I'm wrong. So you think that most of the crazy ideas right now that are getting a voice seem to be coming from the right?
Yeah.
Am I saying what you're right?
Yeah.
All right. If you heard a bunch of crazy ideas coming from the left, would that change your mind?
I already do hear about the crazy stuff on the left.
Okay, you do hear about it. What makes you think that the right has more of a voice than the left right now?
Well, for one, we're talking about critical race theory and vaccine mandate. Those don't seem to be things that lefty people tend to push very hard. Then there's the election fraud. For some reason, we're still talking about that several months into Biden's presidency.
Right. No, for sure that is definitely a thing that the right talks about more than the left.
Yeah, and then there's QAnon. That thing got a big splash page for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's the left lacks a equivalent to QAnon, but for some reason, QAnon is treated it's given a platform and taken semi-serious. It's a conspiracy theory, but maybe the government is a bunch of child pedophile rings.
Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy to me. But I've heard people on the right say that the left's version of QAnon might be something like Antifa.
Well, what is Antifa?
What is QAnon?
Well, you can point to something in QAnon, right? There's a Reddit. Wait, there's a 4chan guy who posts vague, weird ramblings
He calls himself Q or whatever, right?
Q. And then there's a bunch of conspiracies organized around it. And from what I can tell about Antifa, and this is another one of their favorite things, it's just a group of random people, a melange of anarchists, Marxists, Maoists, democratic socialists, anybody vaguely towards the left, organizing in a very specific place against some right-wing militia group or
Okay.
Proud Boys or that sort of thing. So
what would you say the biggest difference between the two groups is one is more organized and one isn't?
no, it's just like Antifa just seems to me to be this sort of ad hoc thing that happens in response to organized right-wing action, whereas I guess well, actually, Antifa is another thing that we're supposed to take seriously because of the right. Because, like I said, it seems to be like the sort of ad hoc group that just gather together for one specific purpose and then disperse. And then we're supposed to treat it like this sort of great anarcho-communist conspiracy to take over the nation and organize themselves doing terrorism.
Right. Why do you think people on the right believe that?
Well, because they just want to find equivalency to their terrorists.
To their
version, to their weird terrorist people.
You mean like the QAnon?
Well, not
crowd,
QAnon, but more like actual organized group like Proud Boys, like the people who did the Charlottesville March.
Oh, like the actual like neo-Nazis.
Like actual neo-Nazis
Gotcha.
Just came out of the woodwork.
Got it. Interesting.
So it's like, well, we don't actually have like equivalent there in the left because, I mean, the left is completely disorganized, but they wanted to create something on the left that's equivalent to that. And now we're supposed to take it seriously as some sort of terror group and both sides are bad sort of thing.
What would change your mind about that? What would change your mind that it all originates on the right? What would it look like that most of the statements were actually coming from the left? I'm not saying they are, because I don't actually believe that they are, but what would change your mind on that?
I don't think my mind would be changed about that because this is more of a specific issue about what the discourse is about, not like the right is bad or the left is bad or whatever.
So there's nothing you could find out that would change your mind on that?
No, most of the topics we're discussing are very specific to like weird right-wing conspiracies, right? So if there's like a left-wing conspiracy that gets boosted, then maybe my mind could be changed that the discourse is dominated by the weird fever dream of right-wing people.
For example, what we talked about originally, the vaccine mandates.
Yeah.
If the argument wasn't that the vaccines don't work or something like that, but the argument coming from the right, if you found out a right-wing person who didn't believe in vaccine mandates was more on the side of they don't think the government should be mandating it than they don't believe it works, would that be less right-wing conspiracy? Would that be more?
Well, no, I would still disagree with them because, I said, the government already mandates tons of vaccines you had to take in order to even enter elementary school. In order to even enter university. I remember that I had to take a TB test to get into my first university, take another TB test because that one expired, and then take another TB test to get my new job.
Right. I've had to for work too.
Yeah, so you already get lots of vaccine and medical testing, and no one seems to have a problem with that, but they just have a specific problem with this COVID vaccine mandate.
Does that inherently make it a right-wing conspiracy, though?
Not really. I mean, do you know who Giorgio Agamben is?
I don't.
He's this Italian philosopher of sorts. He's very big in the humanities.
Okay.
And he's like that sort of vaguely left-wing intellectual sort.
Okay.
And he made, like, I think last year when the vaccine was starting up that the government should not mandate vaccine because that's government tyranny imposing, I don't know, biopolitics upon the masses as way of government control.
Mm-hmm.
So these anti-government impulses aren't like inherently right-wing, but it's just like, most people were quick to dismiss him as a crazy person, but for some reason, now that the right wing is saying government should not take away our freedom, this is we should have the right to be sick, and like, sure. Now we take them seriously.
So do you think most anti-government sentiment is right-wing?
No.
Okay.
I don't think there's many people who like the government, to be honest.
I completely agree with you there. Well, interesting, man. Do you have any questions for me?
Sure. So what's the purpose of your organization, I guess?
What we do is there's a lot of people who have a lot of beliefs. And the method we use is called street epistemology. And it's finding out why, not so much what they believe, but why people believe what they believe. For example, let's take vaccines cause autism. That's a belief a lot of people have. I would take someone like that and I would ask them questions to figure out why they believe what they believe. If they're using good reasons to come to that belief, well, that's probably something I should start believing. If they have really good scientific evidence that vaccines do cause autism, well, that's something I want to start believing. But if they're not using good methods to do that, maybe together we can figure out that maybe those aren't methods good. So at that point, they either need to look for better methods to determine it's true or change their belief. And we just look at a whole bunch of different things like that. Maybe religion, maybe, I don't know, it could be anything in life, any truly held beliefs, even beliefs that, gravity is real. All right, like gravity actually works. These are things. What's your main reason for believing it? Well, I believe it because I stick to the ground pretty good, right? Pretty well. For me, that's a pretty good reason to believe that gravity exists. But if my big reason was because, there's some secret other force or something, if I'm not using good reasons, well, maybe then I need to change why I'm believing it or find a new reason to believe it. So that's the main reason. We just want people to challenge the beliefs they have by coming up with good reasons for believing it. Does that make sense?
Sort of, but yeah, I'm just not sure that having street debates are a good way of changing people's belief, because debates in general really don't change anyone's mind, to be honest.
I completely agree. Did you feel like I was debating you?
No, but it's just it seems that there's this idea where if people debate and they reason things out and they use a Socratic method, they come from bad beliefs to better beliefs. But I'm not sure if it works that way, because some deeply held beliefs are just not going to change for most people.
That may be true. But the Socratic method is definitely what we use. But I find debates usually to be people presenting facts and then the other side presenting other facts. And then this person will have a counterfact to that fact, and this person will have a counterfact to that fact. And I agree, they don't change minds. That's one of the main principles of what we do out here. We don't try to change people's minds because we present better facts. We try to change people's minds because they're not using reliable methods to come to their beliefs. And we just want people to start using more reliable methods to believe what they believe. Even if it's not the same belief that we have, we just want you to we're hoping that we can find more reliable methods for ourselves, and we can help other people find more reliable methods for themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not trying to change people's minds, perhaps, but I would like people to take a good look at why they believe what they believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel a bit pessimistic about this whole enterprise, because I don't think people are going to change their mind about anything.
I hope you're wrong. I think a lot of people need to change their minds about a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of people need to change their mind about a lot of things, but usually it's not going to come from this sort of epiphany from listening to some guy debate or something, or talking to another person and having your belief challenged.
Well, it's not. I'm not hoping for epiphanies, but I'm hoping that people can just take a quick second, even examine 1% of what they believe, and think about why they believe it. If they do that, over time, I really do believe that minds can be changed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. I really appreciate you talking to me, man. Appreciate your time.
Have a nice time.
Thank you, man. You too.